Welcome to the hottest movie review on the internet today, the A-List Review. I'm your host, the Game Changer, Wes Troop. And this week I am here with 4 big reviews. 4 films were released this week in the theaters, in wide release, surprisingly, and I've seen them all. I have seen all, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Fantastic Four, Shaun The Sheep Movie, Ricki and The Flash, not that kind of Flash, thank God, and The Gift. So, we're gonna kick off this week with my review of a movie that's been getting some horrific stuff said about it in the last few days. Yeah. So let's see what I thought of the newest 20th Century Fox, superhero movie, The Fantastic Four. Young Reed Richards is a childhood genius with who, along with his best friend, Ben Grimm, begin to develop a working transportation device. Years later, at a science fair, Richards is contacted by a professor and head of the Baxter Foundation to work on a matter-transferring device for a full scholarship. Along with the help of Sue and Johnny Storm and Victor Von Doom, they create the machine which successfully transports objects to and from an unknown planet. The teens take an unsanctioned trip in the machine to Planet Zero, and after a mishap, end up with the odd superpowers. The military promises them to look for a cure for their condition if they work for them, but when Von Doom returns from the planet, they must protect Earth before it becomes Doomsday. So what did I think of Fantastic Four? I thought it's a second-rate comic book reboot. After hearing horrible things from early screenings, my expectations were underground for the film. It couldn't get much lower. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but that certainly doesn't make it great. There are many little things I could nitpick at for not being comic book correct, quote-unquote, like Dr. Doom's suit, the Thing not having pants and his voice annoying me, but there's other glaring problems I had that are more important. First off, the tone is too gritty and dark for these characters that are supposed to be somewhat fun. There are a few jokes and corny lines, but they're very hit and miss. The CGI is also very up and down, and some aspects look okay, and certain things, like a monkey, are on the verge of embarrassing. I also thought the middle of the film is boring, and seems like filler until we get to the finale. Speaking of the finale, much like the 2005 Fantastic movie directed by Tim Story, the big face-off is too quick and disappointing for facing one of the biggest villains in the Marvel Universe. Surprisingly, I found a few positives here and there. Yeah, I thought the lead up to going to the planet was okay, and makes you think there might be some hope. Yeah, you're the only hope, that's for sure. There's a surprisingly violent scene in the lab which caught me off guard, but I thought was kind of awesome. I don't know that it fits this movie, but I liked the scene. Anyway, I also enjoyed the cast, and with better direction and script, could have been fine. Miles Teller stars as Reed Richards / Mr. Fantastic, the smart student longing to be a scientist who discovers how to teleport objects and has the ability to stretch his own body. Kate Mara as Sue Storm / the Invisible Woman, the adopted daughter of the head of the foundation that gains the power of invisibility and creating force fields. Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm / Human Torch, Sue's brother who gets in trouble and ends up having to work at the Baxter building and receives the powers of fire. Jamie Bell as Ben Grimm / The Thing, Reed's best friend who goes along on the mission and becomes a large rock creature.
Toby Kebbell as Victor Von Doom / Dr. Doom, a computer technician who becomes jealous of Reed and spends a year on Planet Zero, and Reg E. Cathy as Dr. Franklin Storm, Johnny and Sue's father who heads the experiment. I didn't have pure hatred for Fantastic Four as some have had, but it doesn't exactly improve upon anything from the last series, and I can use it here, is not so fantastic. I'm going to give it the rating of meh. Yeah, and that's probably being nice. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, that should be a suck it. But there were some things I did actually kind of tolerate. Like I said, I like that one scene in the lab with, I'm not going to give it away what happens, but I don't know that should have been in this movie, but I like the scene. I like the actors. They gave okay performances. So it's not a total wash, but just keep in mind, and everyone should know this, because it does say Marvel, but in case you don't know, Fantastic Four and X-Men are not from the same studio that bring you the Avengers, Captain America, Thor. This is from 20th Century Fox that does these movies, Fantastic Four and X-Men. So they are not part of the whole thing. In case you haven't figured it out why these characters haven't been popping up. Spider-Man was Columbia, Sony actually, but they worked out a deal, so now Spider-Man can be popping up in Civil War, and the next Spider-Man movie will be a Marvel Studios producing it, so it will count as a Marvel Studios film. These do not, these Fantastic Four films and the X-Men films. So, this rates in with the other Fantastic Four movies, with Amazing Spider-Man 2, with the Green Lantern. These are second-tier superhero movies. So I was not expecting it to be up there, Yeah, I wouldn't say I have more hatred for X-Men Days of Future Past. I love that movie. I have more hatred for The Last Stand, the third X-Men, because I really did not care for that movie. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't really care for that movie. We'll just put it that way. Because there's I could go on a whole episode about that, what I don't like about that. But yeah, it's down there. This is one of the least best superhero movies to come out in a while. Since Amazing Spider-Man 2 and the other Fantastic Four movies, I'd say, and Green Lantern, like I said. So, I would recommend checking this out on DVD. If you're a superhero fan, just to say you saw it, because you might like certain things, you might hate certain things, but it's worth seeing to see if you're a superhero fan. If you're not, then don't bother. But I would not spend the money to see it in the theater. I doubt you will anyway, because a lot of superhero fans know this is not Avenger, up there with that. So I would just say wait for DVD. I wouldn't see it in the theater. Plus, if you don't see it in the theater, maybe the rights can come back to Marvel, and we can have Fantastic Four characters, including Dr. Doom, in the Avengers movies, which would be awesome. But, I'm not going to hold out for hope on that one, but we'll see. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the newest animated film. This is a kind of different animated film. We haven't seen one of these in quite a while. Here's my review of Shaun the Sheep Movie. Of sheep and a dog have a great relationship with their owner, known as the farmer. As the years go by, however, fatigue sets in and the farmer grows tired of his job shaving the sheep and tending the farm. The sheep are tired of it as well, and one of them, known as Shaun, dreams of a day off. The sheep end up tricking the farmer into falling asleep and put him into a bed in a trailer. When the trailer rolls out into the big city, the farmer ends up with memory loss and the animals become worried. Shaun and his friends go on a mission to find their owner and get mixed up in some hijinks along the way. So what did I think of Shaun the Sheep Movie? I thought it's a pleasant animated comedy based on the British television series. It comes from Aardman Animations, which brought us other animated hits such as Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run.
Much like those films, the animation here is all stop motion. With all of the computer-generated animation, which I still love, it's a nice change of pace to see a different style. There are also no spoken lines in the movie. There's animal sounds, characters muttering under their breath, and some interesting choices of music. Get your rocks on, baby. That was so awesome. But no actual lines. I felt this to also be a welcome change. The film easily tells its story this way and keeps it entertaining enough that words aren't even really needed. The story is simple but sweet as the sheep go out to find their owner. There's a nice message of not taking things in your life for granted. It's fun seeing the sheep dress as humans, try to act natural while eating in a restaurant, and stay out of the grasp of an animal catcher. It may not be the best animated feature to release this year, but Shaun the Sheep Movie is a well-made and unique film. I'm going to give it the rating of do it. Yeah, if you're a fan of this kind of animation, definitely go for it. It's a fun little movie. It looks kind of more than Inside Out and, well, not Minions. Minions is pretty kiddie. But, I mean, there might be some people that think this looks too childish, this Shaun the Sheep movie. But it's not really. It's like a silent film that's animated. It's a nice change, like I said before. Yeah, if you're into the Wallace and Gromit, the Chicken Run movie, this even like Coraline, stuff like that, with this kind of animation, definitely check this out. Get your lighters out, ladies and gentlemen, because we're gonna talk about a new Meryl Streep film where she plays an older rocker chick. You know, who saw that one coming? But anyway, let's see if Barry Allen makes an appearance in this. I don't think he will, but here's my review of Ricki and The Flash. Ricki is the lead singer and guitarist for her band, Ricki and The Flash. Of course, they're not as popular as they dreamed they would be, being the house band at a local California bar. When her ex-husband calls her and tells her that her daughter is seriously depressed after a divorce, Ricki comes back to help with the fallout as much as she can, even though she hasn't been around as much as she could have been. So what did I think of Ricki and The Flash? I thought it's a scattered family drama. There are some things I enjoyed here. First off, there are more songs than I expected, with the band playing tunes ranging from Bruce Springsteen to Lady Gaga. Kinda sounds like my iPod. Meryl Streep does do a good job singing, and Rick Springfield is great on lead guitar. When Ricki returns to see her kids, there's a lot of awkward fighting, making it a drag and a bit melodramatic at points. While there were a few chuckles, I think it would have worked better with a few more laughs. Not like a Hangover-style comedy, but a little more of a comedy than what we get. What the film sets up, with the kids fighting with Ricki, it all seems to wrap up a bit too nicely at the end. The story can be predictable, but still keeps things tolerable. Also, the song and dance choice in the final scene felt like an odd mix to me, at least to me. Meryl Streep stars as Ricki Rendazzo, grocery store clerk by day, rocker by night, who wants to make things right with her family. Kevin Kline as Pete, Ricki's ex-husband, who is left by her but is happily remarried. Streep's real-life daughter, Mamie Goomer, as Julie, Ricki's daughter going through a rough patch after being left by her husband. Audra McDonald as Maureen, Pete's new wife, who doesn't really gel with Ricki. Sebastian Stan, yes, the Winter Soldier himself, as Joshua, Ricki's son, who's getting married, and Rick Springfield as Greg. Yeah, he should have been Jesse. That would have been funny. Ricki's lead guitarist and new boyfriend. Ricki and The Flash has its moments, but much like an album, there's some hits and some misses. I'm going to give it the rating of meh. You know, it's okay. So, so I will say I was easily the youngest person in the theater for this showing. I went on a Saturday night at 7, and I was the youngest person. It was like the old folks home had a bus trip or something. They seemed to enjoy it more than I did. They came out of the theater telling people that worked there, "Oh, it was so fun, you have to go see it. Did you see it yet?" And they're like, "No." But, you know, it was alright, you know, for what it is. It wasn't horrible, you know. I would say this was better than Fantastic Four, even though I gave them both the same rating here. It's still... But, you know, it's that kind of movie. People are gonna like it, some people aren't. And it's exactly like that. Because it says like a 59 right now on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's probably what it's gonna stay at. Because it'll resonate more with some people than others. So I'm sure it resonated more with the older generation than with me. I don't know. It's hard to say. Diablo Cody, some of her work with me is hit and miss, so I can see how that can happen. But if this seems like something you'd be interested in, I would tell you to definitely check it out when it comes on DVD. I don't know if I would go and see it just because some people are liking it, some people are not liking it. So if money's a priority, just wait till it comes on Netflix or Redbox or something. But I would still at least see it if you're interested. And finally this week, it's not really a horror film, but a suspense thriller, if you will. We're all wondering, what's in the box? I don't think it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head, but you never know. That would be really weird if it was. Here's my review of The Gift. A couple move into a new California home after the husband, Simon, lands a new job. At a store, Simon and his wife, Robin, run into one of his old classmates from school named Gordo. They get Gordo's number and talk about catching up sometime. Gordo soon shows up at their door and ends up having dinner with the couple and keeps sending them gifts. Simon feels he isn't really Gordo's friend and thinks he's an oddball, so he cuts ties with him. Strange things begin to happen around the house, and Robin finds out there's more to Gordo and Simon's past than she ever could imagine. So what did I think of The Gift? I thought it's a suspenseful and unique thriller. It really did make me wonder what exactly was going on throughout the entire film. I only really figured it out seconds before the reveal. The marketing for the film makes you wonder what's in the box, and it's brilliant because the audience really doesn't know what it could be. It could be quite a few things. Also, none of these characters are innocent and they're all up to something. It makes us wonder, is Gordo really doing these things, or is he innocent? What did Simon do in the past, and is he still up to no good? There's some great tension throughout the film as well, making you sit on the edge of your seat, and when there's a jump scare, it's very effective. You all jump. Like Criss Cross. Jason Bateman stars as Simon, the businessman who seems to be hiding a big secret from something he did back in high school. Rebecca Hall as Robin, Simon's wife who had become addicted to pills after a miscarriage, but is getting over it. And Joel Edgerton as Gordo, Simon's former classmate who wants bygones to be bygones and start everything anew. At first, Edgerton also wrote and directed the film and does a fine job in that department as well. The Gift is unpredictable and is easily one of the year's best thrillers. I'm going to give it the rating of Do It. Yeah, this is a good one. I'm not sure that every single person in the theater will like the ending, but the build-up is really good. You might be like, oh, well, I've seen this kind of thing before. It looks kind of like a Fatal Attraction, single white female type movie. And it is, but different. But the twists are totally different, and the suspense is very, very good. The suspense in this film is better than any horror movie I've seen so far this year, that I can think of at least. I don't even know if I've seen a real good horror movie this year. To tell you that, It Follows, yeah. But, the suspense in this movie is great. I was on the edge of my seat when she's going through the house. And how many times have we seen a movie where someone's going through a house where someone might be in it? But this had me hooked. this movie. And you seriously don't know where it's going. You don't know what twists could happen. You don't know, is this guy a nutcase? Is the Jason Bateman character the real nutcase? You don't really know until the final act, you know. And then most things are revealed. We'll put it that way. It might be one of those where the screen cuts to black and you go, oh, that type of thing. That's why I'm not sure everyone will really like the ending or not. But I did. If you're a fan of thrillers, of horror, there's not gruesome at all. There's no blood that I can remember. It's just a thriller. It's not gory, but this is something different for this time, at least. There's not many of these that come out today that are actually good. So definitely, if you're a fan of this kind of movie, check it out. All right, well, that's all the time I've got for this week. Next week, I will be back with my reviews of Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Straight Out of Compton. Yeah, I'm gonna look like a sore thumb in that theater. Stick out like a sore thumb, I should say. And also, Grease the Sing-Along is coming back to theaters next weekend, so I'm gonna review Grease. I'm not gonna go and sing. I sang Grease for 3 months at Genesius Theater, baby. I did my time with Grease. So, well, maybe I'll sing a little bit on the A-list. You never know, you never know. So, until next time, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube, youtube.com/westside515. You can like the Facebook page, facebook.com/WestTroopAlist. Follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram @WesAlist. And of course, you can buy my book, The A-List Review 2014 Movie Review Yearbook. Over 150 reviews, only $10. Contact me through Facebook or Twitter if you're interested. Until next time, Troop out.